So this is a PSA 9. I believe you owned the PSA 10 before you sold it to Logan, correct?
And the whole value of the deal was well beyond $1 million.
Oh my goodness. What's a set like this go for?
300,000 at least.
This is obviously the most expensive card. It's the most powerful card in the game. The grail of pretty much all grails. There is nothing that can come close to this in any TCG ever. Like never ever. So how many of these are there?
6 on the pop report. An unsigned PSA 10 sold a few months ago for 600,000.
Dubsy, I have a question for you. If you were to evaluate this collection, just monetary value, like how much have you poured into this?
I can't really say exactly how much.
I can tell you guys, it's priceless. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my newest adventure. We're gonna be going over to Dubai today. We're gonna be meeting one of, if not the biggest public collection owners of all time when it comes to Pokemon cards. We're gonna be meeting and talking to Dubsy and checking out his insane, Pokemon collection. But that's not the only thing we're seeing today. Dubsy actually told me in private that he has a special card that he has never unveiled to own in the YuGiOh world. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking to Dubsy, seeing his massive collection, and finally, we're gonna be taking a look at one of the holiest of all grails in the YuGiOh world. So without further ado, let's get into it. It hasn't been a great start to the day. I'm not one of those people who shows up early to flights. The flight was scheduled for 10:40 p.m. I was here at like 9:30, but unfortunately they delayed the flight by 4 hours and now I'm stuck here doing nothing. Here's Mrs. Strictly, she's passed out and I'm sitting all alone. So I guess while I wait, I'm gonna be editing videos and some thumbnails and maybe take a small nap, and hopefully they don't delay me any longer because I am so ready to get out of here. I can't stand airports, I can't stand flights. I just want to get there. All right, so I guess I'll see you guys when I'm on the plane. It's 1:45 right now and we're about to board. We have a 12 to 13 hour flight ahead of us. We land at around 11 p.m. at night the next day, so we're not gonna be able to do much, and our trip will officially start on Thursday. I believe sometime during this week we're gonna be meeting Dubsy and we're gonna be shooting Strictly collections. See you guys soon. All right guys, so we just got here. It is incredibly humid, super hot, super nasty. Like, I just want to jump in a pool, but so far it's been pretty good. But yeah, anyway, customs was really good. There was like pretty much no hold up. We got through in pretty much like 10 minutes with basically clearance customs. We got our bags right away. The bags were already ready, like coming out the gate, unlike Toronto where you have to wait like 30 minutes before the bags start coming out. So overall, it was a very, very pleasant experience. I got out of the airport where it was air conditioned and like the heat wave just hits you, and apparently it gets a lot worse during the day. So I don't know what we're gonna be doing. One of the main reasons that I came here was for Dubsy's collection, but also I am gonna be investing some money here and picking up some property, so hopefully that goes well. Most likely what we're gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be trying to arrange the Dubsy meeting. It's about 6 a.m. right now. The day is about to get started, so let's get started with it. Before we go, let me show you guys the view. This is from my sister's apartment. As you can see, it is like super beautiful, but it is so foggy, like you cannot see anything. The Burj Khalifa is just behind this building. I mean, overall it does not look like it's a city that was built like 50-60 years ago. It's kind of wild, but yeah, anyway, let's get back to starting the day off. All right, so we're downstairs at the bottom of the hotel. We're waiting for our Uber to come in. Here is called Kareem, so that will be pretty interesting. I think he's here right now. So we're just gonna hop in and head to Dubai Mall where we're gonna see, like, apparently it's like an experience by itself. So that'll be interesting. Let's get there. guys, so we finally made it to the ultimate man cave, the ultimate Pokemon collection. This is Dubsy, aka Giovanni, aka #1 collector in the world for Pokemon, at least in my opinion. So we have a ton of stuff here. I'm super excited to get into them. But before we start, I want to introduce you guys to Dubsy's advisor, the one that knows everything about Pokemon, the guy that knows like pretty much Pokemon all the way from 1998, and that is Nido, aka Hadoken Nido on Instagram. He also has a company called Pro Retro X, which we'll be talking about at the end of the video, and he's going to be helping me kind of navigate through this collection and all the stuff that I'm not too familiar with.
First of all, thank you for coming to Dubai. You know, I do advise Dubsy on a lot of collectibles, but my main area of expertise is the video games. Of course, I know a lot of cards because it comes along with the video games. There are other people as well working in the background in trading cards and stuff. And yeah, I do agree with you. It's the best collection in the world as far as Pokemon.
It really is everything. Like it has a little bit of everything, but it has a lot of the good stuff. All right. So I guess we'll start with the first thing here. I was just taking a look at it earlier, and this is, I'm guessing, first edition Pokemon base set packs.
Yep. The special things about this set is that these are all heavy packs. So each one of them each one of them contains a guaranteed holo card. So there might be a Charizard in there.
That's craziness. And this acrylic display is beautiful, man. Wow.
This is
It
done
feels
by a company called Phantom, I think.
Phantom displays, yeah. Amazing. This incredible work. What does something like this go for?
Currently, the prices, I believe, of the first edition packs is
About
something
15,000.
Each pack?
Yeah,
And that's because it's heavy, right?
it's heavy, yeah.
And
And how
like-
I know it's heavy, it's usually above 21 grams.
Over 21 grams.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There's always a risk that it's not, but it's 99%.
99% sure. Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
the price would always correlate to what the first edition Charizard in PSA 9 would go for today.
I see. I
So
see.
which
Okay.
is 15 to 20k, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
It's-
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting correlation. And what does something like light packs go for, or like unweighed?
And we had about 4 or 5K. something like
Really?
that, yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay. So that's first edition heavy packs. I guess let's get into Skyridge. I guess. Tell us about Skyridge. Why is it in this collection? Why does he not have like Fossil or Jungle here?
Okay. Again, like my main area of expertise is the Japanese stuff more. But about Skyridge specifically, it was the last set that was released by Wizards of the Coast. So it had a very limited print run. It was at a time when Pokemon was kind of declining, I guess.
Yeah.
And they didn't do like a large print for it. So the sealed boxes remain very,
Scarce.
Just very scarce. And I think you won this in auction.
Yes,
That was an auction.
Yeah.
And I believe at the time it was the highest ever paid for.
First edition was sold for higher.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
non-first edition, definitely the
Yeah.
highest.
Yeah. Of course, it has the Charizard.
Yeah.
And this has Crystal, right? Crystal
Right.
Charizard. Yeah. And for something like this, what's this go for?
60K?
60,000?
Around that much, yeah. I think so.
60,000
They don't
US
sell very often.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
quite rare,
Yeah.
Even the other box is even rarer.
So it's like an event sort of, right? Like everybody knows
Yeah.
like this is coming up for sale.
The set is really popular, and the
Yeah.
box art. If you see the
Yeah.
rarely you get hollow patterns on sealed boxes.
The emerald green is really popping.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
my favorite box of all.
Yeah?
A lot more than first edition as well, to be honest.
Wow. Amazing. And the box looks crispy too.
Yeah.
Like it looks super mint.
Do you,
So
do you think you'll ever open any of these?
No, I'm not an opener.
He's strictly sealed, man.
I'm a sealed guy, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, what do you have here? Like what's so special about this one?
All I know is that at the time when he bought it, he got it for like 60k and the market went crazy.
Wow.
So I remember a guy quitting collecting.
Holy smokes.
He went on.
EX Doxes, I would say, is probably the rarest English box.
That is English box. And this one has the Rayquaza, right? Rayquaza, Latios, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Yeah.
Interesting.
A very popular set. And
The-
has very interesting art as well.
Yeah,
It's like a
I agree
very
with
kind
you.
of dark themed
Yeah.
look to it. Yeah.
This has some of my favorite EXs, like the Deoxys. You know how like he has the 3 forms?
Yeah.
The fact that you can get them all as EXs here is really spectacular. And the Rayquaza is one of the best looking ones. Like the way that it like wraps around the card art is...
Art-wise, Rayquaza is my top 5 of all
Yeah.
time.
One of my favorites is the Dragon Frontiers EX Charizard. The only problem I have with that one is the hollow foil, because like it's literally like reverse hollow.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of that. That was the only drawback for the Charizard Gold Star. But this and EX Team Rocket, I'm a Ruby guy, right? Like I grew up on Ruby, so you know Rayquaza, Groudon, freaking Torchic, Those are like my favorites. So this is an amazing box, man. The condition is not that good, but I'm guessing it's because it's so rare. Like people just settle, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not so much for condition when it comes to sealed stuff. Because inside is
the inside.
That's what matters.
Really,
That's what matters. Yeah. No, that's nice. Incredible work. Okay, so let's get into, I guess, this big blue box that has the Dubsy logo on it. Set these this way here, and this looks.
That's a custom box.
This looks incredible, man.
Yeah.
Look at his logo on this. This is amazing. Wow.
So yeah, this is probably, in my opinion, the most impressive collection in the world that you can have in Pokemon today. This is a set of no rarity, a complete set of no rarity, and it's the highest set assembled so far known in the world. It's not Gen Mint because some cards don't even exist in PSA 10.
They do. The rarest is Raichu.
That's a one. That's a one.
Which I have. It took me a while getting that. But this is the highest graded one, about 70% at PSA 10.
70%.
I'm still working on the rest.
Yeah, but some of the rest are actually smaller cards, right?
Yeah.
You have, I think you're still missing a Pidgey.
Yeah, some random cards as well, but they're super rare. Like pop 3, pop 4.
Never pop up there.
In order to be able to appreciate this, you really need to go to Japan and walk in the stores and look at no rarity cards and see the condition they're in. Absolutely no way you'll be able to get even PSA 9s, not even PSA 8s sometimes. Like most of them would go PSA 7, 6 and below, especially when it comes to holo cards. And one other thing is the centering. The no rarity is notoriously hard to grade. Most of them were very off-centered to the extent that PSA would actually cut them some slack in grading. Like you would see Charizard a bit off-centered and it's still grade the PSA 9, PSA 10, sorry. And there are only 8 of those in the world. PSA 10 Charizards, no rarities. PSA 9s are currently at like 25 in the world.
There's actually a 7 PSA.
So one of them is
mislabeled.
Like when you guys see PSA 9s being at pop 25, that tells you like not only is the card rare, but it's actually hard to get, because like 9 and 10, like the gap is not very big. Would you agree with that? Like in terms of condition? So the fact that you have 25 PSA 9s, that is incredibly low. And if you guys were to draw a comparison for this, if you guys look back at one of my videos that I did on the starter box Blue Eyes, it's actually very much akin to the no symbol Charizard. So in no symbol, what happens is in Pokemon sets, you're gonna see at the bottom right, there's usually a star, diamond shape, something like that to indicate how rare a card is. For this set specifically, they actually excluded this no rarity symbol at the bottom right. It's just blank. This is what people dub no rarity. This set is considered the first edition, pretty much all Pokemon cards. Like the reason it's so similar to starter box is because in starter box, you obviously don't have that Eye of Anubis stamp at the bottom right. You also don't have a set code. The later reprint of that starter box Blue Eyes is pretty much the exact same. However, you have that Eye of Anubis at the bottom right and you have the set code. So it's very similar to that. Like you tell me that PSA 9 pop, that really sets it in perspective for me, and that really allows me to see just like how incredibly rare that is. Man, like that is amazing.
Of course, the term no rarity is actually a term that was kind of coined in the West. If you go to Japan and you say no rarity, they have no idea what you're talking about. They call it no symbol, in Japanese no shimbo.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you ever want to go to stores and try to find these, you gotta ask for no symbol card.
Holy smokes, look at this. This is it right here. How many did you say there was of this?
7.
7.
7 of them.
Wow. Like this is craziness, man. Look at that. I have the Blastoise right here. There's the Mewtwo, I guess. Yeah. But why is this one number 150? I thought the holos were in the beginning of the set, or is that just the TCG?
At that time, they were doing like the numbers referred to the actual numbers of the Pokemon in the Pokedex order.
That's amazing.
So that's why Bulbasaur is number 1.
That's incredible, man. That base set regular, the no rarity, is that the same thing as well?
I think the base set is Should be the same. I think it's the same.
Same,
Base
right?
set is different. It's different numbering.
No, I mean the Japanese base set.
Oh, the Japanese, yeah.
The
so-
Japanese
You mean
base set?
Japanese?
Yeah.
Japanese
Yeah, yeah.
base set is the same because no rarity is actually sort of an error.
It is an error set.
Oh, really?
So the Japanese base set is exactly the same, but with a symbol added. If you're asking about the English one, it's totally different.
That one was the
System.
hollows were right in the beginning,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
First
Yeah.
16.
So in the English one, they did alphabetical
Mhm.
and rarity. So first
I
they
see.
start with the rarest, and it's Alakazam, and then
I see.
Blastoise, and then Chansey, and then
Mm.
Charizard, Clefairy, and so on.
I see, I see. Oh, that's why Alakazam is the first one.
Yep.
I see. It's always Alakazam or like, yeah, I remember that now. Okay, interesting. This is amazing, man. I think the presentation box is like,
Awesome.
is
yeah.
like just as impressive, man. Like this is, wow.
When it comes to collecting, for me, it's a very personal thing. And
Yeah.
I'm super OCD.
Yeah.
Like it's super organized. You notice like all the sleeves.
Yeah.
They're the same company and the same size. Like I won't put them in different sleeves.
Yeah.
You know, custom make boxes for them. So just like where you're sitting, sometimes I take out my collection. I
You
actually go
just
through it,
admire it, right?
admire it, and I like it to be organized. And
Yeah, like that's honestly the funnest part in collecting, like just the organization aspect, right? So that's the no rarity 1996 Japanese base set, PSA 9s and 10s. I would say like this is an accomplishment, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Like this is an accomplishment of collecting. It's not like one of those where it's like you just shell out the money and buy, right? Like when
No,
you
no,
collect the whole
no.
set, like that's like years, I would say, no?
Yeah.
Which-
I'm 100% sure there isn't another set in the world in that
That's
kind
incredible.
of condition.
complete sets, yeah, maybe a
Yeah.
handful in any grade, like just a complete set.
Yeah,
It's
in any
difficult.
group, but we're talking about 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
Probably the only one.
Yeah,
Pretty
well,
sure the only
one.
one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's only one.
Because you have the right shoe.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I guess we're gonna get into some bigger stuff here. This is Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. And what's really special about these? Like other than the condition, you guys saw my water video by now, and you guys saw that I graded 9.8 A++ Pokemon Red. But why is this one more special than mine? Could you tell us?
I think the one you had was the Rattata edition,
Correct,
right?
yes.
Okay. So as far as the pop report, there are only 3 copies of that one, and the only difference between them is if you turn it back, you'll see the screenshots over here.
Yeah.
There is a screenshot of Sandshrew versus Meowth, and this was changed. We don't even know the exact timeline, but we can very confidently speculate and say that this is the first print. The reason they changed it, we could actually look at the Pokemon Blue, and you can see a Pidgey versus Rattata in the screen. And these are 2 of the most common Pokemon in the game, and
Yeah.
they can be found in both games. However, as far as the Sandshrew, you can find them only in one of the games.
I
So it was kind of an error to have
Yeah.
him on both
I
games.
see, I see.
So they ended up changing it probably quite quickly, as far as we can tell from the reports.
Yeah.
This is one point, and the other point is that the box of the Sandshrew print is
Okay.
quite flimsy compared to the box of the Rattata. It was produced in a better factory, maybe. That's the speculation. So if you look below, you'll see this is what we call the
Bifold,
Y-fold
yeah.
box, and
Oh, this is double flap.
double flap. So the double flap kind of makes it easy to crush. You know?
yeah.
You can very easily just, if you apply a bit of pressure, like something will pop out. Whereas this doesn't happen in this kind of box. So again, this makes that one extremely hard to grade compared to the Y-fold. So we have a pop 3 of the Sandshrew and a pop 5 of the Rattata Pokemon Red. Of course, there's also the one with the black E. That's I think
Third print, right?
I think it's a pop 1. It's a later print. It's much rarer, so it depends on what your preference would be. But most people prefer what is earlier. So what's the first
Yeah.
print, which is, you know, the Sandshrew
No.
Pokemon Red.
Now, this is really special for me because I never really collected Pokemon cards. Like when I started, like my parents started supporting me, it was like literally just YuGiOh. Pokemon was kind of getting like around the time of like Skyridge and EX series, but Pokemon games, this is where I spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours.
This is where the whole series started, you know. Cards wouldn't exist if it wasn't
Exactly,
for
for
the
this.
for the games.
Yeah.
And the pops, you know, is for most collectors who want to have a display, let's say, of Charizard or Pokemon and stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a hard time displaying a first edition Charizard next to a game
So this,
because of the pops.
I know a lot of people have a problem with like the whole grading of video games. You know how like there's a lot of like in the gaming community it's really taboo. But to me, like I just think that this is nobody kept these sealed. It's like unheard of to keep something like
Yeah,
this sealed.
yeah.
You know, when I got back into the hobby, I remember Neo Genesis box going for like $3,000-$4,000, and I was looking at these and these were like $300-$400. And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
how is this possible. My biggest position, like no joke, as an investment was video games for the longest time, because I was like looking at these Pokemon boxes. I didn't remember any of them from my childhood, but I specifically remember this. I specifically remember Pokemon Ruby. I put a lot of money into these games, man, and it paid off, and I still kept like the highest graded ones that I've ever received. These are super nostalgic to me. I think sealed video games, they're like really creme de la creme. I don't care what anybody says, like I think that they're amazing.
You know, when it comes to the whole community of video games, let's say, there isn't as much as a taboo thing as much as it is a thing where people take certain time and steps to actually accept something, right? And this happens with all collectibles. It even happens with cards. In Japan, until today, you go to collectors and you go like, why would I grade my cards? No, I'll take care of them, I'll preserve them. It's they feel like it's not a good idea to spend money to actually put a card in a piece of plastic. So with Pokemon, it's kind of the same. However, where they do have problems is like what company they're using. You have the OG collectors who want to use only VGA. And, you know, and then you have the more new school, let's say, collectors who really support Wata. Each of them have their good reasons to do so. That's the main issue, I think, in the community of video games. Plus, you don't have enough speculators and investors in video games so far. So that's why the prices are still kind of...
I think they're creeping on like bargain territory now, especially when compared to Pokemon boxes. Like there's no way that a Pokemon Red that is like high grade should be getting the same premium as something like, you know, Pokemon Fossil Box or Jungle Box. Like that's unheard of. Like there's literally a Fossil Box every single day on the market, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's craziness to me. My opinion on grading games, I had VGA as the leader until I saw the new water cases. After that, it was done deal. Like it was finished. Like the new water cases, honestly, they're really cute.
I haven't held one yet, but I mean, they're beautiful. You know.
I like, to be honest, I like all three grading companies, but I do prefer Wata and CGC over VGA. Main reason is because VGA is, I feel like they're not taking it to the next step where they should have took it to the next step a long time ago. Where are the pop reports, you know? Like when you go on the Wata website, you feel like these are actual collectibles. But with VGA, you're just basically kind of framing your game in a nice display case. You know?
And I think they're kind of inconsistent once they get past the 90. Like man, like I had an 85 plus Pokemon Red, it graded 9.8 A++. I pulled that myself out of the blister and it was like perfect. When I sent it into VGA, I was like baffled that it got 85 plus. Like how's that possible?
From my personal experience with the VGA, and a lot of people don't like it when I say that, and we get in a lot of arguments, you know, with our friends, all in good fun. I always say that, you know, they make fun of Wata that a VGA 85 plus or a VGA 90 game would cross to a Wata 9.8. Well, the reason is not because the Wata scale is, you know, weak. It's because the VGA scale after VGA 90, it's the same to me.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
90, 90 plus, 95, 95 plus, and even 100. They
all look
pretty much the same. Yeah, so that's why they get 9.8s.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. My game was actually perfect. Like it was so flawless. I was so surprised that I got the 85 plus. But yeah, Wata gave it the rightful grade. And you know what's interesting is that you guys have watched my Wata video already. I had an 85 plus Pokemon Blue that had like a small blemish here on the seal. That one got 9.8 A plus. Like that's how you know it's fair.
I do like that system with Wata.
Man, like that new case, can't wait till you see it, man. So this one, I know that there's like this special variant that doesn't have the E. What is that all about, and which one comes first?
So again, it all comes down to speculation in the end, because we don't have solid, you know, information directly from Nintendo or from the company, the factory that made the games. But we can again confidently speculate that the first game that came out was the one with the pixelated E, they call it, which is the white E. And then there was a period of transition where the ESRP rating changed from white to black, which is solid, they call it the solid E. Between that period, I would say, is where some of them dropped the E completely.
And do you think this is an error, or they just dropped it?
Probably some sort of error. When we look at the pops, we see that it's the lowest in pops when it comes to the no E. It was probably, like, I would imagine it, maybe someone called up the factory and said, we're no longer using this, so don't print it on the box, for example.
Okay, that makes sense.
So what do we print? Well, we have nothing, just don't print this.
Okay,
and then, you know, it went out in a few 100,000 pieces.
Yeah.
And then they switched to the black one. So this is like, in short, this is the first print. I think there are a couple of different variants. If you look on this side, you'll see that this is 83% fiber below the recycle. There's another variant which is 100% recycle, 100% fiber. And the 83% always has the Y fold, and the 100% comes from the factory that did the double-ended.
I see. And do we know which one's first for that?
I'm not sure. I don't remember actually if the pixelated E had two, or was it maybe the black, the solid E that had two. But in any case, this is the first, the one he has the first print, and it's a pop 2.
For the blue, there is a Sancho version, right?
There's a Sancho version and there's an earlier version.
What?
just for the blue. So.
And how do you know for that one?
So when you look at the text here, collect up to blah blah blah, and then in the end it says trade with a friend who has the red version. So there was an error version that said trade with a friend who has the blue version on the blue box.
I see.
So that one had the Sancho as well.
Okay.
And so we can again like strongly speculate that it came
That
first.
was the first one.
Yeah, and you can't really find it in great condition, sealed, and there isn't any in 9.8. I don't think there are any in 9.6. I do think there's one copy or two in 9.4.
Interesting. Amazing. All right, well, that's like pretty much the holy grails Pokemon games right here, all stacked up. And yeah, like again, the new cases, like they actually click together, so you can, they don't
Stack
move
them?
around. Yeah,
Stack them,
it's so nice, man. It's so nice. All right, so tell me about these, because I have literally zero idea what these are even about.
As far as the Western market, these are considered actually the holy grails of video game collecting. So in the year 1990, there was a championship that was held in the USA. It was called the Nintendo World Championship. They got people from all over the different states to participate in this official Nintendo tournament, and the best out of them ended up going to one location and having a whole final. Part of the prizes that were given to the winners were these cartridges. All the gray ones were used in the tournament itself, and they were given to people after the event. And there's a total of probably, so this is number 223, so there are more than 200, and so far we have in the world 90 to 100, something like that. So this might sound like a big number, but you know how the culture is in the US for collecting. It's a very small number comparable to other collectibles.
Absolutely.
And then you have the golden one, which was made in only 26 pieces, and out of those 26 pieces, only 14 surfaced, and out of those 14, only 5 are graded. I would definitely agree that this is, absolutely one of the biggest holy grails of video game history, because it was an official championship by Nintendo. It's an official cartridge by Nintendo. It was given by Nintendo to the winners, and the software inside is unique on those games. Yeah, the game itself is like a collage of 3 games, was it?
I think it was
Mario, Rad Racer,
Tetris.
The kids competing needed to finish certain parts of Mario, and then Tetris, and then Rad Racer, I think. And then the winner would be the person who would collect most points.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
What's something like this go for?
It doesn't really go for, because you don't find them anywhere. I would say that this one is easily today, if you put it on auction, probably easily hit beyond 300k. And
300,000.
At the peak of the market, if he would have sold it at the peak, would have been probably the first one to hit $1 million, maybe. Because remember, Mario 64 hit 1.5 million, so there's no reason for this not to hit $1 million.
The thing is, it never comes up for sale. The only sale I know of is the one I bought. It was 2018, if I remember. And before that, I did research. The previous one was 10 years ago. So whoever,
holy smokes.
Yeah, the 14 that are owned by different collectors, they're not letting them go at all, really.
And the sticker would really fall off quite easily. So you can see that the owner of this one used some sort of glue and just
glue it on.
That's why it got it 5.
So the gold one is actually the gray ones that have been painted gold. Most of them have been either used or made for the Nintendo World Championships.
I see. What's this go for then?
Between 30 to 100, depending on the grades.
Condition, right?
Yeah, the condition. The highest
What's the highest?
9.0. There's
9.0. I see. Wow.
So what collectors look at a lot is the top part, and a lot of them have this kind of loose.
I see.
And they don't it brings the price down. So this one is actually in a very nice aesthetic.
This is incredible.
The 9.0 I think has almost a totally white label. Not yellowed at all.
I forgot to ask you about what does the red go for, and what does the blue go for, and what does the yellow go for?
So the red at the peak of the market, officially as in auction, sold for 160k. The lowest point, I believe it sold for 50k. And it's probably still there now. Like if it goes in auction, probably will still hit that because we haven't seen one in auction since a while in 9.8.
Wait, so you're saying that my red can hit 50K?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, and what's the yellow go for?
Yellow is like today is like 20K.
So what's interesting about these as well, since we do prize cards in YuGiOh,
Yeah.
Pokemon,
Yeah.
this is really the only prize cards that we know of. There are some Japanese ones, I believe.
Yeah, there are a lot of Japanese ones that were awarded directly by Nintendo as well, or a company that worked with Nintendo. And the most, I would say, famous or infamous one is the Mega Man, Rockman 4. It was given as a prize in a competition to illustrate or draw the 8 bosses of Mega Man. And those 8 winners received 8 golden cartridges. There are only 8 in the world.
Wow.
And one of them is owned by the guy who created One Punch Man.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was
Amazing.
the artist who did the... Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. Lost for words. This is like 400K right here. Craziness. All right, so here now we're getting to some like original art, it seems.
Yep.
What is this exactly?
This is actually a published page from one of the Pokemon manga. And the artist, his name is Teshirogi Takashi. And you can see his name down here because these are his official papers. This was one of the covers of one of the chapters of the manga. This is the only known example to ever go on public auction. There's been a few others, which were like this one, for example.
Okay.
Pages from inside the chapters. However, this one is the actual cover of the chapter.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and then this whole manga run was about 5 books.
Okay.
Each book, let's say, is 5 chapters.
Yeah.
So then you have a total of 25 covers at most. And this one is probably one of the best ones, if easily in top 3, because I've read the whole manga and
Yeah.
I know how they look like. And this one went on Heritage.
Yeah.
And ended up selling for 54K.
For the manga, like where does it fall in the whole universe of Pokemon? Is
For-
it like the anime based on that or anything?
Yeah,
like
for this specific manga,
Yeah.
it was kind of based off the anime. They just told the artist, we want to create this short run of 5 books based on Ash and Pikachu.
Mhm.
And he kind of did his own story and his own twists on it.
that? Okay.
And he took one of the arcs and did, the whole 5 books, covering a bit of first generation and a bit of second generation.
Beautiful. I
Lugia, for example, was in the manga. Yeah.
I see.
And one of the reasons this is very special is that you can't really get them anymore. You can't get them, period. And these just sort of leaked. You can't get more. The artist wouldn't sell. The publishing company would not allow him to sell. They wouldn't leave. Art in Japan is extremely different than art in the West. For example, in the West, you have the companies that are DC, Marvel, all of those. They leave the art with the artist. They cut the artist slack. They tell them, you can make some money off that art. You can draw Superman and sell it as a commission. Whereas in Japan, it's not the same. They're very tight with their IPs and they really don't want anyone to make money out of their license,
their IP, yeah.
which is their right, but this is how the culture is over there.
Very interesting. Wow.
And then those are pages from the manga itself. I think this was from the very first chapter and one of the first few pages.
Incredible, man. And what do the pages go for? Like I know this one's like you said.
Yeah,
50
a few of them sold on auction on Heritage, and the prices were at about $3,000 each.
I think it's kind of cheap.
It is cheap.
Amazing, man. Incredible. All right, so what do you want to do next then?
I guess let's do the big box.
Okay, this is the box apparently. Excited to get into that. I guess let's start with, oh my.
You can pull 3 together.
Okay, 3 together? All right. Oh my goodness. I could tell this is like dumb expensive probably.
The funny thing is that, compared to cards, these are still not there yet.
Really?
Yeah, like on auction, they'll probably go for 30K each.
Okay.
Maybe 35, 40 maximum.
Yeah.
On a bad day, 20K. So these are actual handmade arts that were done by Mitsuhiro Arita, who was the artist who created the original trophies, the 1997, 1998 Pikachu trophies. Recreated the art itself into these cutouts or cards and gave them to a collector called Michael. I believe he did those in 2016, probably in Italy.
They were featured in the Logan Paul video.
Yeah.
The illustrator. I mean, he saw most of my collection, but that was the only cards that were shown.
There are a few others of those around,
Yeah.
but not a complete set as far as I know.
Wow, 100 grand right here. Amazing, incredible art right here. All right.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what this one is.
So this is a Snap Magikarp. In the year 1999,
Okay.
Pokemon had a sort of competition where they asked people to take pictures inside of Pokemon Snap. And the best 10 pictures were turned into cards, and they did 20 copies of each of those cards and gave them to the winner himself, the person who submitted the picture.
I see.
In the case of the Magic card, for whatever reason, none of the copies surfaced, and then suddenly one of them came out in the far north of Japan, in the cold, in Hokkaido. And it was just sitting in a store for months and months, and no one was buying it. They had no advertising whatsoever. They had no social media, and no one knew that it was there. It was listed for just 3 million yen, which is $25,000. Then that store decided to move it to another branch to kind of
get more publicity.
Yeah, and that branch decided to just put it right away on auction.
Wow.
They put it on auction. Dubsy found the card. He's like, this is the card I need for my collection. And he spoke to me in Japan, hired my company basically to get it done. And we had to go to a bidding war basically. Someone else really wanted it in China, and it ended up selling for 135K.
Wow, big payday for the seller.
Yeah. Again, like the great thing about this is that it's the only one that surfaced, and it's still the only one that surfaced.
And there was a lot of publicity on this.
Yep.
So like if there was some like that were laying around,
Yeah,
they definitely would have thrown up, or would have been thrown up on
Yeah.
websites, right?
So if I had to speculate, honestly, I would say that the other copies were lost.
Yeah, right?
Because as you said, like why wouldn't they pop out after that? And you gotta remember that at that time these guys were kids. Like you're giving a kid a bunch of cards, like here are 20 copies, give some to your friends, you know.
Even this one you can tell like it has wear and stuff, so you can tell like it's
that's why it's authentic.
yeah, it's had in better days. Still, that's incredible. I know a friend that has the Polywag. That one apparently goes for like 60 something.
So the winner of the Polywag decided to sell all his copies a few years ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
it was unfortunate, for him. It was nice as well because people
were able to acquire it.
Yeah, and we started knowing more about the Snap market, and he sold all of them. I think like each copy was selling for like $1,000, $2,000. I think the highest he ever sold was like 5,000 or 6,000.
And do you have the set or just this one and
No, just this one and the Pikachu.
Pikachu? I see. All right, so here we have 2015 World Championships.
Yeah. So the impressive thing about this is that Dubsy was able to collect all four from the same championship the same year. And then you have the number 1, number 2, number 3, and 3 and 4 have the same art. This is the same art that was given since 2014. So this was the second year they gave.
So we were discussing privately about how like 2023 is going to have like this brand new, or speculated to have this brand new art. This is what you're talking about, where it's been doing that for like the last 6-7 years?
Yep, exactly.
I see, okay.
So this set is probably at $400,000 today.
For the, what's it called? Like the whitening here. I can't imagine it's from Playware. Is it just because like the cutting was really bad back then?
It could be for whatever reason. These cards, when you go to the competition, they would be displayed behind acrylic. Maybe the person who displayed them didn't take a lot of care.
350K for this. This is incredible, amazing. Jeez. Oh, I know what this is what? They just keep coming out.
So this is a super secret battle. This was when the championship was still happening only in Japan. So this is the equivalent of Worlds today.
Okay.
It's not really equivalent of Worlds because it was only for Japanese people. Again, the impressive thing here is collecting all 3 of them.
Yeah.
One is hard enough. Like you can't really find one.
That's not,
So he managed to get all 3 of them in high grades except for the
What are these going for?
The last one that sold, I remember, was 135K.
And are they like the same pops?
There are, I think 9 were released of each one.
9 of each?
Yeah. I think 7 or 8 agreed for each.
I think one sold privately for 200K.
And I'm guessing like the person who's in the market for something like this, he doesn't really care whether it's bronze. Like that would be just like cherries on top, right?
Yeah, most of them don't care.
I remember the 100K auction. I remember that going up for sale.
People have been asking me for a year now. They messaged me, can you find this card? No one wants to sell.
That's very interesting. Like I always, from the YuGiOh perspective, we always thought that these like trainer cards were kind of like lesser value, like they're not as cool.
Yeah.
Seeing the Pokemon appreciation for them is definitely a sight to behold. And these are consecutive search too.
Yeah. So I was saying the equivalent of Worlds. This is actually the equivalent of Worlds. So this was the first time where Pokemon let people from outside of Japan join the championship.
Okay.
It was in Hawaii, I think. It's called we say the TMB, which is the tropical mega battle. A lot of people don't really like the Pokemon on the card. The historical value here is that this is actually the first championship where it was like a worldwide, sort of competition.
I actually like it. I actually think it looks very very unique. I've never seen this Executor art either. Amazing. What are these going for?
The funny thing is that one of them sold on auction not too long ago for like 50 or 60K, but it was because people didn't know if it was real or not, and it's so difficult to get buyer protection on Japanese auction houses
I see.
or websites. But I would say the proper value is at least 150K each.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, especially when you're talking like a PSA 10. What's the pop on a PSA 10 of these?
I think that's just one.
That's one, yeah.
Yeah,
That
I think so.
makes sense.
They all have a PSA 10. They're all pop.
In them.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So this is a PSA 9. I believe you owned the PSA 10 before you sold it to Logan, correct?
Right, yeah. I did a trade with this card to Logan.
Yeah.
And the funny part is it was actually my card.
This is your version.
Yeah, that he somehow contacted the previous buyer, which I had a trade with, and he got my card. Out of all the PSA 9 he was looking for, it turned out to be mine. Yeah.
Wow.
So this was the card that actually started my career as a broker of Pokemon, or a middleman of Pokemon cards. I handled the trade for Dubsy, and the other side was an Italian collector who had an amazing set of Charizards, including possibly was like maybe the best PSA 10 Charizard out there.
Like in terms of clean?
Yeah, it was like super, very clean, very strong 10, and a lot of complete set basically of Charizards in the highest grades. And the whole value of the deal was at the time well beyond $1 million.
Okay.
So we did the trade.
The reason I did the trade was because I had the PSA 10. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. You know, I can complete a lot of sections of my collection by having those Charizards and getting rid of one. Yeah. But this, I mean, I'm a lot happier with this card than the PSA 10. A lot of people ask me that question, but it's true. It's my first ever Pokemon card, so it's deeply sentimental. Yeah, very sentimental.
Yeah. This is pretty nice too. Like there's just one white dot and that's it. This is a nice copy for sure.
Then Logan hired his guy to find this card, and they offered him exactly $1.275 million. Logan found the guy who owned that at the time, which got it in a trade.
So the deal was, when Logan contacted me, and it took like a few months for us to conclude, I said, I can't give you the 10 without replacing it with an Illustrator. Find me a PSA 9 plus give me some cash on top, and I'll go ahead.
I see.
So,
some cash.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
the deal was PSA 9 Illustrator plus $4 million from cash.
And he actually paid the other guy 1.275.
This is incredible. A lot of history here, man.
Yeah.
A lot of history here. Wow. He wants to cover 2 more cards with me before he says, all right, the rest is like not worth my time anymore. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. But he has to go, so we're gonna cover like 2 huge cards that, in my opinion, I think they're worth something, and I think he agrees as well. Tell us about this card right here. This is the Kangaskhan Trophy.
There was an event in Japan where parents and children would join together in tournaments, and they had to win a certain number of games in order to win this card. So I would say to a lot of people, this card represents this sort of feeling or sentiment where a lot of us got, supported by our parents to start in the Pokemon hobby and in trading cards and stuff. Most collectors really want to have this card, which really drives the price up. You have the whole factor of it being a PSA 10. This is absolutely one of the holy grails of Pokemon collecting, and more specifically when it comes to the old back cards.
And this art has never been used before, right?
In cards, no.
I've never seen it before,
So it's an art by Ken Sugimori, who is the main guy who did the art for Pokemon, the main character designer. And I just love the background, with that pinkish really purple kind of vibe. On this specific card, really awesome. This really copy,
pops.
The swirl
on top of his head.
Oh, this is beautiful, man.
This card is probably conservatively 200K. A better estimate is probably 250 to 300.
What's like a raw copy? Is it 200K coming from the rarity of the card or the PSA 10 aspect?
PSA 10.
PSA 10 aspect, I see, okay.
Raw copy is probably 50K.
50K, okay.
But outside of the trophy cards, like the Pikas, TMB, SSB, this would be the whole
right up there, right?
Outside of those.
And it's funny how these things, can really dry out real fast.
Yeah.
When I started doing my work with Pro X, I ended up sourcing within months, I think a total of 5 copies of this. And after that, disappeared. Like, I keep asking the guys in Japan, you know, the collectors over there. Many people ask about a Kangaskhan. Do you have a Kangaskhan? No one has it.
Wow.
There's currently only one known copy in the Japanese market. And it's probably like a PSA 5, PSA 6. They want 6.5 million yen for it. It's listed in one of the shops.
Last card with Nido right here. Ishihara GS, what is this?
Ishihara is the president of the Pokemon company.
Okay.
Currently, he's no longer the president. He just stepped aside very recently. And he had a birthday party. Someone decided to do this card for him at his birthday, you know, whoever was managing the party.
Okay.
And they did about 60 copies. And those copies were given to the guests at the party.
I see, okay.
They were probably told, don't sell them.
You know how it is.
A few of them anyway ended up in the market. This is one of them.
60th birthday party.
60th birthday.
That's why you see the 60.
Yeah, it's a very special card. There is one copy with Mr. Ishihara's autograph on it.
Okay.
And that one went for like 350k. Yeah.
Where's something like this go for?
Below 100k. The reason it's a bit difficult for me to give estimates is because there hasn't been like public auctions for a while.
Yeah.
But currently there's one on Heritage.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what the grade is, but there is one.
Yeah.
PSA 8. There was a PSA 7 that was signed by Ishihara. That went for above 200.
Thank you so much for spending your
thank you
time
too.
with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll be continuing here, but he does have to go, so I guess I'll see you next time I stop in Dubai. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you want to support the channel, you can support yourself by picking up your own TCG accessories as well as sealed product from strictlysealedinc. All the proceeds go to supporting the channel and helping me bring you more content just like this. Now let's get back into it. All right, so we're back after a small commercial break. Let me just start with this pile, all right? So here we have a German first edition base set Charizard. What does something like this go for?
Maybe 20,000, something like that.
20,000. We're talking USD, right?
USD, of course.
USD. Okay. Here we have a top cent Charizard blue back. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, these cards were released in, I believe, 1997. That's what people speculate.
96, I think, yeah.
96. These are claimed to be some of the first Pokemon cards ever made. These come in like a pack of gum this big, and you get 2 cards inside. And usually if you open them up, if you actually watch a lot of YouTube videos, you know that a lot of them come out with a green back. Well, the blue back is the one that came first, or at least that's what people speculate. And the biggest confirmation of this is that there's actually a rare variant of the blue back that does not have a number in the top left corner here. Because of that small difference, you know, greenbacks do not have something called no number, and that confirms that blue came first. They came without the number, and then blue with the number, and then you have the greenback. So that's just kind of a small history lesson on the top sun cards. I do believe that they attribute them with no number now, but they just didn't attribute it because I believe at the time they did not recognize it. Yeah, so the pop on this one, it's definitely low. Okay, I promise you guys it's extremely low, especially for the no number. And what's something like this go for?
I think this would be 10,000.
10,000?
Yeah.
This one I remember had like this huge boom because people thought it was like the first Charizard ever, right? And then
the biggest loss in Pokemon was one of those
was
cards,
this one, right? It's a PSA 10 version.
PSA 10, right?
Yeah,
I think
very
there's
interesting.
top 2 or 3 and sold for like 500,000 or some crazy amount, and now it's worth like 30k.
Yeah, that's like imagine that. Imagine the loss that happened there. Okay. What's also interesting is that in this exact same set, what you would get is a version that is holographic and it looks like this. Now, this is actually not a card. This is actually a sticker. This thing is like impossible to keep in good condition. So a PSA 10 is like crazy amount of value. What would you estimate this to be?
At least 20k.
At least 20,000. And I would agree with that. I think this is at least below pop 10, right? Like there's no way it's over pop 10 because I'm telling you guys, these things scratch, bend very easily. So very difficult to keep in good condition. And look at that. This is the original Pokemon Red artwork. Just gorgeous. And you can see the silhouettes of the Pokemon on the back. Look at that. By the way, this is my favorite Charizard artwork right here. This is the Gym Challenge or Blaine's Charizard. I mean, look at this thing. This is so 90s, man. This is so nostalgic. But yeah, it's really badass to have the 2 of them here. Are you hunting a PSA 10 or are you like not really that interested after what happened?
I think I'm fine with this one.
With a 9, right?
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. I mean, after a controversy like that, like it's very difficult to put so much money into it. So I get it. All right. Next we have, this is the first thing here. This is the CGC 10 Venusaur first edition. In my opinion, I believe CGC is the most accurate grader. I mean, I can definitely agree that, look at this, no whitening whatsoever on the edges. And I believe it got a 9.5 on corners just because of this small thing right here. This is super clean, man. This is actually super clean. Wow. I love Pokemon cards in CGC cases.
I agree.
They look so good. And CGC cases, man, like they just feel so premium. You're holding like a museum piece. Wow.
They're very clear. They're the clearest of the cases. For sure.
Incredible fit. Okay, so here we have not one Charizard, we have 2 Charizard, 3 Charizards, and then we have the Japanese base set Charizard, and then we have an unlimited perfect 10 or pristine 10 base set 2 Charizard. So obviously the most expensive one is this bad boy right here. And again, I'm gonna just show you guys like the quality that you're gonna get with CGC. When they tell you it's a 10, it's actually a 10. Like again, it has 9.5 edges, and that's I think because of this like tiny spec, and then you have 10 corners. Nothing wrong on them. Look at this beautiful card, man. What's something like this go for?
Honestly speaking, like we've looked at all the perfect 10 first edition Charizard. Gary has 2 of them, BGS 10s. Logan Paul has 1 BGS 10, and I have the only CGC 10. And we consider those like the best first edition Charizards in the world.
This is actually remarkable. It's actually really clean, man.
It's just so blue, like, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's like a deep blue compared to most of those.
Yeah, you can see it right here. I like this more than PSA 10. No, this is so nice.
I mean, a BGS 10 never got sold, so we can't really evaluate it.
Yeah.
Gary King Pokemon offered 750,000 for a BGS 10.
Wow. And this is the only pristine 10, right?
This is the only pristine 10, right?
Here's the shadowless little brother of this card. And then, like I showed you guys, this is a perfect 10. So it's like pretty much flawless. Let's take a look. Let's see if it really earned it. There's not a speck on this thing. There's not a speck on this card. That's crazy. Beautiful. And then here's the base set Charizard. And you said that there is no rarity, I'm guessing, for this, right?
No, not a 10. No.
Not a 10, right?
There's PSA 10s, which I have, but 9.5 I think is the highest.
Right? Yeah. And then a base set 2 Charizard. So the only one you're missing is the 1999, 2001.
Right.
And then obviously no rarity just doesn't exist. But in English, that's all you're missing. Wow. Like, what would you estimate the set to be at? Like, if you were to just throw a ballpark number?
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million?
Yeah, easily.
Jeez. Beautiful. All right, so now we're going to get into the signed cards that he has. He has a huge signature collection that I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit later at the end of the video. But this is the stuff that really stood out to me. The first thing that I want to cover is the 3 birds here, all having customized sketches of the birds by Mitsuhiro Arita. And I believe he does not allow to do stuff like this unless he writes a name now, correct?
Right.
Is that true? Yeah, so like you're not going to be able to get stuff like this. And like a dedicated name is nice and all, but it's kind of weird, right? Like you want something that's like kind of not as distinguished, right? If I'm Omar, right, I don't want like a Michael Jordan jersey that's like dedicated to like some other guy, right? I would love to have like a custom thing for myself, right?
Unless it's your own card, then it's fine.
Exactly, right? Like having something like this is just so unique. Like look at this, man. So incredible. What's something like this go for?
I think they're like 10K each, maybe.
10K?
Like
Yeah, it's because of that custom sketch, right?
Probably,
You'd say?
Yeah. And it's unpersonalized, so...
Yeah, it's not
doesn't
personalized,
have-
yeah. Here's something very cool. So this is signature Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 9 Auto 9 by Fukuda himself, right? And this is the artist that drew all of the Gold Stars, I believe, right? I believe he was the designer for Rayquaza as well, correct?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is like ridiculous. I know the Gyarados is like one of those cards that's like super expensive, right? It's like one of the most expensive Gold Stars, right? What's something like this go for now
I
that
think
it's signed?
unsigned is about 5K or so,
Okay.
PSA 9.
And then the signature is like
Yeah, you just add a little bit.
a little bit, yeah. probably like another 5K, double the price probably. This is really badass. If you guys know me, I always rave about how Ken Sugimori is like the only art I can truly say like this is my childhood, right? Like there's nothing really like it. And this guy has a signed Charizard. This is from the CD, right? Like
Right.
that Pikachu CD. He has a signed Ken Sugimori with a sketch. And if you know anything about signatures, you know that this guy is a huge hermit. Like he does not come out of his cave. He never signs. So having something like this is unheard of. I believe his signature is the most expensive. Would you say? Yeah.
Ken Sugimori would be like the grail for signature collectors.
Yeah. What's something like this go for? Like if you were to just ballpark it.
Over 30. at
Over
least.
30,000, yeah. I could imagine. if I was to pick one card to have him sign, it would probably be Shining Gyarados from Neo Revelation. That's my favorite artwork on any old school Pokemon card, and having him sign that would be a dream come true. All right, and here we have Mitsuhiro Arita signed, I believe. Or no, this is signed by Nishida.
Nishida and Mitsuhiro Arita.
And Arita. Right. I see, okay. And the sketch, is that Arita or is that Nishida? Do you know? Right here? I believe it's Nishida. That's Arita, I see. Yeah. Wow. So is Nishida like super difficult to come by as well?
Nishida is actually more difficult than Kensuke Mori.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, she hardly signs anything, and she's seen maybe once every few years.
Is that the one where Nido has a hand-drawn Pikachu?
Right, yeah.
That's the one?
That's the one, right.
Bro, that Pikachu art is so amazing, man. Right. That thing is gorgeous. All right, so now we're gonna get to some more craziness, and this is some BGS slabs, and bear with me as I show you, okay? So this is CGC 10 Mysterious Mountains, which is like the equivalent of Skyridge on the Japanese side. You can see that the hollow foil pattern is actually a little bit different. This one is signed by Saito, and I believe that's on the case, correct? It's not on the card, yeah. So you have like pristine Charizards here, and they're both like hand sketched. You can see this one is personalized to Dubsy himself. Like
the other one as well, but in Japanese.
But in Japanese? Yeah. Wow, amazing. That's incredible. I think that this is like a $20,000 card, right? In PSA 10, right? Like the
English one,
the English one, right? So pristine is probably like double, maybe.
Top one in BGS 10. Yeah.
Crazy. Beautiful cards. You can see the back differences right here. Gorgeous. We have a BGS Black Label Raichu base set. I distinctly remember PokeRev grading one of these. I don't know if it's this one or not, but this card is very special, and I love the way that the black and the yellow right on the Raichu, it matches the label.
And getting black labels for any base set cards is almost impossible.
Crazy. Yeah.
So you can count on one hand how many black labels are from the entire set.
Beautiful, man. All right, next up is arguably like one of my favorite cards in the Pokemon hobby, and that is Pikachu Gold Star. The reason I like this one is because number one, the art style, it looks exactly like the cartoon. If you've watched Pokemon, you know that this is exactly what Pikachu looks like. And the fact that it's a shiny, the fact that it's like a Gold Star, which is arguably like the highest rarity in vintage Pokemon, and like this is a pristine 10, this is just mad, man. Like this is such a crazy card, man. No, this is beautiful.
My top 5 in the entire collection.
Yeah?
Far, yeah. Because I'm a huge Gold Star fan.
Yeah.
Pikachu is my favorite character in Pokemon, and that's my favorite card of Pikachu, so...
Yeah, I agree. This is my favorite Pikachu art too. It just looks like a badass. Yeah, it's just a beast. Look at that. All right, here we have Scream Promo Pikachu Black Label. So the thing, I don't believe that this card is actually like that rare. I think it's rare in Black Label. Is that true?
Yeah, rare in Black Label, but it's more common in other.
Yeah.
It's still super popular, very popular because of the art.
Like this is one of the best combos we've seen in Pokemon. Like imagine the creativity here, like beautiful. This is modern art in my opinion. And Black Label, like that's craziness. Beautiful. All right, so next up we have, so this is a very, very common card, but this is actually like extremely difficult to grade. Like I know this because I tried, when I got back into the hobby, I tried to grade this damn thing. This is not to say like it's incredibly rare in PSA 10. It's hard to grade. It's not like easy. And the fact that you have a Black Label here, I think is what makes it very special. And you see like the dark colors here with the gold, man, like... What am I gonna say? Like this is just actually craziness, man.
Sometimes the Black Label really makes the card pop out.
Yeah, it's that black and gold. It's so special. So special. All right, now there's one card when I got back into the hobby that I wanted to get for Pokemon. Okay, so I have some favorites. I have like the Shining Gyarados. I have the Gold Star Pikachu. But like in terms of art, there is nothing that can beat this. Look at this badass card, man. And it's a Black Label. You have the gold, you have the black, gold, and the black. Like, nah. This is your iconic card, right? Like,
yeah. It's the one I carry around actually when I go to shows.
Oh yeah?
I have a Giovanni suit that I made.
Stop it, bro.
Yeah, and I actually showed this card to the guy who made the suit for me. So I'm
wow.
like, I want this suit.
This is crazy. Look at this, man. I think if I was to improve this in one way, I would wish it had like a hollow foil pattern that is not as reverse. You know what I mean? Everything, the artwork is so unique, man. You know, so people have like a painting of themselves behind the wall. This is beautiful. Amazing masterpiece. What does this go for? Like Black Label?
There's one on eBay.
There's one on eBay for like 50 or something, right?
30, I believe.
Something like crazy. So this is like the half brother. Not a lot of people like this one as much as this this one. Like obviously you can tell why. This is a boss with a suit, and then you have like this more artistic style. It's not the same person. It's not Arita, right? Yeah, so it's a little bit different. To me, like if I was to buy the case, I would definitely be going for this. I can see why people like both of them. Is there a black label of this one?
There isn't.
No way.
Yeah.
So this is high grade. And these things came in that Team Rocket set. It's pretty much what the Ultimate Kaiba set is for us as Yu-Gi-Oh collectors, but they got it like 7 years ago. All right, so check this out right now. We have a BGS 10 Lugia first edition from Neo Genesis, and this is crazy. So what would you say like the Lugia would go for in PSA 10?
PSA 10 would be 20 to 30k.
20 to 30k?
Yeah, I'd imagine this would be 70.
70 plus, yeah. I could see that. Like, is there more than one of these?
There's Pop 3.
Pop 3, interesting. Okay. When you have the Pop 1s, that's when the prices like really shoot up. But when you have like Pop 3, at least double, like 1.5 to double the price. It's all speculation, guys. Like there's literally no way to dictate because these things never come up for sale. We're just ballparking it here. Do not comment about the prices that I'm quoting. It's not my fault. Like we don't know too much because again, they never pop up. This one we actually featured in the Strictly Collections #1. The guy only had a PSA 10. This one is a black label. This was awarded for, I believe, 20,000 points. Do you have the others? Are you interested in picking up the others? Like what's your thing? Is this like just because it's black label or what?
Because it's a black label.
Yeah.
Gold star. Yeah. I don't think I've seen another one. That's a black label.
I don't think so either, yeah. I've never seen another one, yeah. I think the PSA 10 goes for like a few $1,000s minimum, right? So I would imagine this is at least like 10, 15, probably. Beautiful. All right, so now we're gonna get into the next section of cards that I actually wanted to pick up myself, and I thought that they were so unique, and that's these cards right here. The Poncho Pikachus, these are from 2016, and you haven't really seen anything like them since, and like, look at the artworks on these guys. Like you get full art Pikachus just in a poncho. Like, man, give me a break. Look at this. I'm actually watching CGC versions of these. I'm actually not interested in PSA 10s because I think Pokemon cards look perfect in CGC cases. Like they really stand out.
Yeah, with the BGS cases, just the black labels.
Yeah, just the black label. Yeah, I agree with you. But with CG, like it just flows. I just think it flows. Beautiful, man. Beautiful set right here. And then he has the complimentary Charizard here. This is the non-full art version, and this is also a black label. Craziness. The continuation of this is the complete set of Mario and Luigi ponchos, and these are also BGS 10s. These I would love to own in CGC 10s myself. I think that they are amazing collabs right here. And then here's the non-full art versions. Beautiful cards, man.
The Mario Pikachu is also one of my favorite cards of all time.
Yeah.
There's no black label.
No black labels, eh?
That would be amazing.
He got into Pokemon, he actually began with MTG. Okay, let me just show you. All right, so we're gonna start off with the complete Power 9 Unlimited PSA 10 set. Stay in your seat, guys. Stay in your seat. Okay? Stay in your seat. Oh my goodness. What's a set like this go for?
300,000 at least.
300? Yeah. This is obviously the most expensive card. This is the Pot of Greed of Magic. Obviously, it's the most powerful card in the game, most likely. I mean, look at this thing, man. And it's clean, too. If there's one card I would love to own outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, it would be this. Like, I definitely can't afford, like, Alpha, but I would definitely try to shoot for something like this.
Magic is considered the godfather of TCG.
It is. It's literally the original TCG.
And I really believe the Black Lotus is like the grail of TCGs in general.
Yes, it is.
Plus, they're super rare.
Totally agree. Do you know the count for Unlimited? Like, did they release numbers?
I think it was 12,000.
12,000?
12 or 15. Yeah,
Imagine that. 12,000. But wait, there's more. I'm about to show you guys a black label, okay? Unlimited Time Walk. And with MTG, black labels are crazy. It's not like Pokemon, okay? Pokemon, they're a little bit more available. Like, you'd see them pop up a little bit more often. With Vintage Magic, forget it. Okay, how many black labels are there?
Only 5 black labels across the whole Alpha, Beta, Unlimited.
Imagine it, there's 5 cards, okay? Not 5 like what does that even mean? Do you know what cards there are?
From the Power 9, there are only 5.
5.
So there's 2 in Alpha,
okay,
1 in Beta, and 2 in Unlimited. And I can't remember, one of them is a Sapphire.
Oh, wow, yeah?
Unlimited, I think so, yeah.
And no Lotuses, right?
No, there's no Lotus. There's one BGS10 Alpha Lotus, and there's 2 BGS10 Beta Lotus. I think unlimited
Crazy.
there's 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Incredible, guys. Like, this is actually incredible, man. Look at that simplistic art style from back in the day. Amazing. All right, and then we have a signed Mewtwo. Now you might be asking yourself, why is this Mewtwo here for like that MTG collection? Well, the main reason is because this is the only card that is drawn by Christopher Rush, the artist that drew Black Lotus. He passed away now, I believe, correct? Yeah, he passed away, and this is a signed copy of Mewtwo. And like, look at this thing, man. This is a beautiful card, man.
There are only 8 of them that's signed by Christopher Rush.
There's only 8.
The Mewtwo, yeah. That's on the pop report. Yeah.
And there's never gonna be more, right? So beautiful card, man. Now what to show you guys, the grail of pretty much all grails. There is nothing that can probably come close to this in any TCG ever, like never ever. And that is not only a PSA 10 Black Lotus Alpha, but it's also signed by Christopher Rush. Like, there is nothing that can come close to this. Nothing. So how many of these are there?
PSA 10s.
Yeah.
There's 6 on the pop report, but I know that 2 of them have been crossed over to BGS.
Okay.
And only 2 of them are signed. So there's only 2 signed.
Wow.
Yeah. PSA 10s in the world.
And the thing that's really special about Alpha is that these cards were actually limited in printing. So you guys know, like, there's base set Charizard first edition, LOB Blue Eyes first edition, right? Those were printed in the thousands. There's at least 50,000 of them, minimum 50 to maybe 100,000 of each of those cards. This one was limited to 1,100 copies. Imagine that. The first card game ever made on the North American side, obviously other than playing cards, poker cards, this is the first. This is like the original, and there's 1,100 copies of this in the world. That is mind-boggling. Like, that is truly a feat, honestly. Like, this is honestly a trophy. If you want a trophy that says like I am the best collector in the world, this is a must-have. Like, this is unbelievable, man. Like, and it's a true 10 too. Like, it's clean, unbelievable. Like, this is actually a masterpiece. So Dubsy doesn't actually just own this, but he actually has a hand-painted Black Lotus by Christopher Rush himself. This was painted in 2014, I believe. And like, look at this pairing right here. Look at that. Hand drawn. Like, you can literally feel the paint on the canvas. Unbelievable, man. This is actually gorgeous, man. I'm actually blown away. Like, okay, editor, throw up the Neil deGrasse Tyson gif right now. Okay, that's what I want you to throw up right now, because like, this is how I truly feel right now seeing this. But wait, there's more. So Dubsy has been expanding to, you know it, YuGiOh, and he's picked up, if you guys watched my video, the holy grail of all Blue Eyes White Dragons, the Jump Festa 9.5 CGC Gem Mint. This is crazy.
And it's thanks to you I picked up this card.
Yeah?
Because the first thing I saw on YouTube was your video talking.
Yeah.
I was considering it. I wasn't very serious, but when I watched the video and, you know...
Yeah, my
like,
enthusiasm, right? Like,
yeah.
This card is truly a holy grail. No, this is craziness, man. So this one goes for around like 75K
right,
at the moment.
That was the valuation I put it when I did the trade.
75, yeah. And what does the Lotus go for? Like, I just want to know, like, this has to be like over 500 probably.
So an unsigned PSA 10 sold a few months ago for 600,000, around that much. Yeah. So I'm guessing a signed one must be, I don't know, 7, 8 plus at least.
I think it's worth it. Like, I really think it's worth it. Would I rather have this or a house? I'd rather have this, to be honest. Like, this is the grail of all grails, and then he has the grail of all grails for YuGiOh. Would you be interested in pairing this up with like a G3 or other grail cards? Are you looking to like move into YuGiOh at some point?
Yeah, it might be. It's just for me, when it comes to like grail cards, it's just the right timing and the feel. Like, I have to be... Like, I feel like I need to buy that at that moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Unless it's a card I'm kind of hunting for many years.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Better look out, rare hunters. This guy's going into YuGiOh now. It's over. Next time I visit here, I'm sure he's going to have a bunch of more grails from YuGiOh. Like, this is just actually unbelievable. I'm truly blown away. What I have left for you guys is pretty much the thing that I was talking about with memorabilia. He has a lot of stuff here that I want to go over. I'm going to be showing you guys, taking a closer look. But I think there's one thing that really stands out to me, and I'm gonna be showing you guys right now. So let's get into it. right, so now it's time to get to the really juicy stuff, the stuff that I love about every hobby, and that is the memorabilia and trophies. The first thing that I want to show you guys is something that was actually offered to me for $120,000, and I passed. Obviously, I can't afford it. He apparently won it for much less than this, and it is this squirrel trophy. Now, you guys know anything that looks like an old relic, I'm a huge fan of. And check this squirtle out, man. Like, it is beautiful. They did such a good job on it. The etching detail, like they wanted to look like a museum piece, and I think they pulled it off definitely. I love that he's on an angle. I love that, like, it's not like he's just facing forward. The fact that he's on an angle makes it just a little bit more artistic, in my opinion. And could you give me some details on this? Like, how many of these are there?
There's
Stuff
two
like
of these that we're giving out.
Okay.
There was also Charizard for first place, Blastoise, and the War Turtle.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Squirtle. So 4 characters that were given out in the 98th tournament.
So is this like 4th place?
I think this was second place.
This was second place.
There.
Oh, I see, okay. And then Charizard was first, I'm guessing?
Charizard was first, yes.
Okay, I see. And they were all like painted like this, right? I'm guessing?
They all look the same. They have a bronzish kind of colors to them. But the Charizard and the Blastoise are actually bigger, larger.
Yeah, they're larger, right? Wow. Like, out of all the things that I saw here, this is my favorite thing right now. And people know I'm a fan. Like, that's why they brought it up to me. I think this was before it went up on auction and you picked it up. This is actually a masterpiece. What's something like this go for? What'd you win it for?
I got for 60K at auction.
60K.
It's way below like what offers were given now.
Yeah.
I think people are offering 90, 100,000 that time as well.
This is wild. This is my favorite thing here. Honestly, it's
one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of people see that and they fall in love with it.
yeah, so artistic, right? Rustic. All right, so that's number 1. All right, next up, we have a world championship. Check out the hat. And this hat is signed by a lot of the artists that were in charge of Pokemon, like Ken Sugimori. Like, the fact that he has Ken Sugimori's signature on here just shows you, like, this is one of those grail pieces. And I don't look too bad in it, right? This is the 2007 World Championship, I think participation hat or something like that, right? Yeah, beautiful, man. This is craziness. Beautiful memorabilia, awesome. Next up, a World Championship Pikachu trophy. This is from 2016. And okay, dude, I love this thing, man. This thing is adorable, number 1. Number 2, it's like, it's really well made. Like, it's well painted. And this is gold medal, right?
That's first place.
First place, right? Wow. I like the Squirtle more, but this is definitely up there. Like, look at this. Wow.
Second and third place were exactly the same, but the base was shorter.
Shorter.
And of course the trophy was painted silver and bronze.
Amazing. Awesome. All right. And the last trophy that I want to show you guys is too big to carry. So I'm going to set it down on the table and we're going to see it together. All right. This one is really epic. This is probably one of the coolest things in this collection. After everything I showed you guys, you'd be surprised like how intensive this collection is. But I guess let's just start with this. So this is the winner for the World Championships for the Game Boy Color. This is the trophy that he actually won. And inside of it, there's a bunch of goodies. The first thing is this Pikachu backpack that houses on the inside the actual console and the game pack that he used in order to win. So check this out. Like, how incredible is this? Look at that. What a great piece of history right here. But it doesn't stop there. Inside of this is some more merch. So we have the Pokemon Park 2000. This is, I believe, a sweatshirt. These are all brand new sealed, by the way. That's like the craziest part about it. And then here we have like the hats that they handed out. I mean, look at this. This is the Ash Ketchum hat. Underneath that, I believe this is something that has to do with the United Kingdom. Probably another tournament there. Check out this badass hat right here. And this one actually says Pocket Monsters Card Game Champion. Like, this is actually a champion hat. Like, that's so cool. But it doesn't stop there. Here we have the Tropical Mega Battles. So you guys remember the Executor trophy cards? These are the medals that were handed out alongside them. These were actually for kids. Like, I actually tried to put it on and it doesn't fit my big ass head. Imagine this. Like, look at how incredible these are. Just amazing. And then here's the back. This is the gold and this is the silver. There's 6 of these and then there's only 1 of these in the world. Insane. Like, actually incredible. And then going back to this trophy, here are the medals that the champion champion one. So this is the first place medal right here. Look at how incredible that is. Look at how much effort and care they put into, like, you know, crowning the champion. And then here we have the championship. I believe this might be a participation medal right here. Pokemon Championship 2000. Imagine being a child and winning something like this. Like, your life has peaked right there, man. Honestly, like, I'm truly baffled. And I guess to round out this whole thing, man, Dubsy, in your opinion, would you say that this is one of the top 5 Pokemon collections in the world?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so, right?
Yeah. Tried long and hard to assemble as much as I can, everything Pokemon related. Yeah, just love doing it. It's amazing.
You love it. That's amazing. Like, you can tell, like, when somebody starts collecting memorabilia, that's how you know it's not just an investment anymore. Now it's like a passion, because like now you want to own a history of that IP. Like, this intellectual property, like, there's nothing like it, right? Like, you can get cards anytime. You cannot get stuff like this. You guys know I love my memorabilia. I love my championship stuff, and this is like right up my alley. All right, so let's wrap things up. Dubsy, where can they find you?
They can find me at Dubsy Collection on Instagram, and the website's coming out soon. You guys are gonna have Wall playing with that. It's like an interactive video game of my collection, and everything will be on there. Yeah.
Check it out, guys. I saw some incredible stuff. I tried to show you guys as much as I can. I tried to show you as in-depth as I can, but this collection is absolutely immense. Dubsy, I have a question for you. If you were to evaluate this collection, not only time and effort have you poured in, but like just monetary value, like how much have you poured into this, would you say? Like,
it's in the millions.
In the millions,
I can't really say exactly how much, but it's in the millions. Yeah.
I can tell you guys, it's priceless. Because you cannot
priceless.
get stuff like this, not even with any money. Honestly, like that Squirrel trophy, that Pikachu trophy, the Alpha Lotus, just absolutely immense stuff, absolutely ridiculous stuff. Thank you so much, honestly, man. You've truly blessed me. I'm sure you've blessed the viewers by sharing this incredible piece of work. Like, it's a true accomplishment in the collecting world, and thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Omar, for coming. We had a blast looking at everything, and I love going through my collection. You know, it never ends, to be honest. You know, the happiness I get just by looking at it, it's incredible.
Hopefully in a couple of years, we can come back here and just see the updated collection, what he's added, and I think that would be a pretty good sequel to this epic Strictly Collections episode.
Of course, you're welcome anytime.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you want to support the channel, you can hit the like button and subscribe for future videos. You can also pick up your own Gardner binders that I make myself. It's made by a collector for collectors like yourselves, and you can always use the links in the description to shop. Thanks for viewing the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Awesome.
Nice.
Amazing. Thank you.